Imagine a world where words are currency, where every thought is broadcast, every strategy is dissected, and every leader is expected to explain, justify, and convince. In this relentless age of communication, where transparency is treated as virtue and visibility as strength, Machiavelli's greatest lesson remains forgotten. Power lies not in what is said, but in what is withheld. The most formidable figures in history did not wield influence through constant chatter. They understood the psychology of silence, the authority of restraint, and the advantage of leaving things unsaid. While others rush to express themselves, reveal their motives, and seek validation, the strategically silent person commands attention without asking for it. Their mystique amplifies their presence, their restraint heightens their influence, and their unpredictability keeps others off balance. Words commit, silence preserves options. Speech invites scrutiny, silence builds intrigue. In a world where everyone is talking, those who master silence shift the power dynamic in their favor. They don't compete for attention, they control it. They don't argue for influence, they embody it. And in the end, while others are still explaining themselves, they have already won. And this principle isn't just an abstract idea, it's an undeniable advantage in the real world. From the boardroom to the bargaining table, the most influential people don't compete for attention, they command it. Here's why. This isn't just a theoretical strategy. Machiavellian silence disrupts real-world expectations, proving that influence comes not from constant expression, but from knowing when to hold back. The ability to restrain your words not out of passivity, but out of precision is what separates those who merely participate from those who lead. In the workplace, silence amplifies authority. The professional who listens more than they speak, who only weighs in when necessary, is often perceived as more thoughtful and decisive than the one who responds to every question. Their words carry more weight precisely because they are not constantly spoken. In leadership, restraint strengthens perception. The leader who explains every action, justifies every decision, and reacts to every critique loses the aura of command. Mystique builds influence. Silence demands interpretation. It forces those around you to read between the lines, to infer wisdom, and to view decisions as deliberate rather than reactive. Those who say less shape perception more. Strategic. The psychology of silence isn't about withholding for the sake of it. Yet in today's world, where openness is treated as the ultimate virtue, the discipline of strategic silence is misunderstood, often overshadowed by the relentless push for transparency. When excessive is a liability, not a strength. The modern obsession with constant communication and radical honesty has led many to underestimate the strategic power of discretion. Over-explanation exposes weaknesses. Those who reveal every detail of their thought process offer others insight into their reasoning, their priorities, and their blind spots, turning their own transparency into a tool others can use against them. Machiavelli understood this deeply. Power is not in revealing your strategy, but in ensuring others remain uncertain about it. Endless communication diminishes authority. One who speaks only when necessary commands attention. Their silence, their brevity, their selectivity in words, these are the marks of true influence. Machiavelli did not advocate deception, he advocated strategic communication. Authenticity does not mean indiscriminate openness. It means knowing what to share, when to share it, and what should remain unspoken. In a world where constant updates, reactive statements, and public disclosures dominate, those who master restraint wield an advantage that compulsive communicators never will. This overexposure of words doesn't just weaken influence, it creates a vacuum where true power belongs to those who understand the discipline of withholding. And when used deliberately, silence is not just absence, it becomes a tool of control. Machiavelli understood that speech just a means is new communication, but a weapon, one that, if used recklessly, can betray intentions, expose vulnerabilities, and surrender power. True mastery lies not in merely withholding words, but in knowing which form of silence to use and when. First of all, information gathering: silence. In a world where most people rush to assert their opinions, the one who listens gains an unparalleled advantage. Silence forces others to reveal themselves, their fears, ambitions, biases, and weaknesses. While they speak to fill the void, you collect invaluable insights. By remaining silent when others expect you to speak, you shift the power balance in your favor, learning more while revealing less. Next, authority building: silence. Not all silence is passive. Some silence is commanding, deliberate, and designed to reinforce authority. Leaders who speak sparingly cultivate an aura of wisdom. Their words carry more impact because they are rare, intentional, and precise. Machiavelli understood that perception drives power. The fewer words you use, the more weight they carry. A leader's silence is not an absence of communication, but a demonstration of control. After that ambiguity, preserving silence. Influence often depends on flexibility, on the ability to adapt without constraint. The psychology of silence serves this purpose by preventing premature commitments and allowing space for strategic interpretation. Machiavelli's philosophy was clear. Clarity is power only when used sparingly. Too much detail invites scrutiny, while selective vagueness keeps opponents uncertain and forces them to act on assumption rather than fact. The power of silence as influence. By mastering these three forms of strategic, the psychology of silence, you transform communication into an instrument of authority, adaptability, and control. Silence isn't passive. It isn't a lack of engagement. It's a conscious choice, a means of shaping perception, maintaining power, and ensuring that when you do speak, every word resonates. While others talk to prove themselves, those who understand silence win without needing to say a word. But understanding the power of silence is only the beginning. Mastering strategic, the psychology of silence, is not just about withholding words, it's about controlling the flow of interaction, shaping perception, and ensuring that when you do speak, your words carry undeniable impact. This principle applies across every aspect of life, from leadership to personal relationships, from negotiations to everyday conversations. The first thing: listen before you speak. Most people enter discussions ready to respond, rather than ready to understand. But silence, when used effectively, becomes a tool for intelligence gathering, giving you access to insights others reveal without even realizing it. Information is power, and the one who listens more possesses more. Then maintain controlled ambiguity. Not every statement needs full clarity. Deliberate vagueness preserves flexibility, allowing you to adapt without contradiction and preventing premature commitments that could later limit your options. In social interactions, maintaining a degree of mystery fosters intrigue, ensuring that people remain curious rather than assuming they already know everything about you. The psychology of silence isn't deception, it's strategic restraint. People respect those who don't reveal everything too easily. Finally, embrace silence as power. Conversations are a battlefield, and words are often used impulsively to fill uncomfortable voids. But those who embrace silence hold the advantage. The person who pauses before responding demonstrates thoughtfulness rather than emotional reaction. Machiavelli understood this well. It's not about saying more to prove your value, it's about knowing when saying less amplifies it. Strategic, the psychology of silence, is not about retreat, it's about control. The ability to listen first, maintain ambiguity, and use silence as a position of strength transforms conversations, relationships, and negotiations. In today's world of compulsive sharing, those who master restraint don't just exist within the noise, they dominate it. And while others are still talking, the silent strategist has already won. But the psychology of silence is more than just a tactic, it is the foundation of power itself. Machiavelli understood a fundamental truth about power: words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. Every statement made is an opportunity for scrutiny. Every thought revealed is a potential weakness, and every commitment voiced is a limitation. True influence is not built on constant speech, but on the strategic control of language, ensuring that when words are used, they are calculated, deliberate, and powerful. Selective words carry more weight. The more often you speak, the more ordinary you become. People tune out noise, but they pay attention to rarity. Those who speak only when necessary command more respect, because their words hold purpose, precision, and weight. Influence is not in how much you say, but in how much people remember, and they remember what is scarce, not what is common. Mystery breeds influence. The most respected individuals in history were not the ones who revealed every thought, but the ones who left room for interpretation. Machiavelli taught that perception is as important as reality, and mystery enhances perception. The more others have to guess about your intentions, the harder it is for them to counter your moves. The psychology of silence forces people to fill in the gaps themselves, often projecting their own fears or desires onto the unknown, giving you control without direct action. Those who guard their speech create an aura of intrigue, making them appear more capable, more intelligent, and more commanding than those who reveal themselves too easily. A person who is predictable is ordinary. A person who is strategically unreadable is powerful. The most successful people control their speech. Impulsive communication serves no purpose except to weaken influence. Every unnecessary word spoken gives away information, exposes vulnerabilities, and reduces authority. The most powerful figures in leadership, business, and strategy speak not to express themselves, but to achieve a specific outcome. The psychology of silence is not an absence of engagement, it is the highest form of control. In a world of noise, those who master silence dominate. Today's world is fueled by constant updates, opinions, and reactionary responses. In this environment, restraint becomes a rare advantage. While others seek validation through words, the silent strategist commands influence without needing to seek it. Machiavelli understood this well. Power belongs not to the loud, but to the controlled. And in the end, while others are still explaining themselves, those who understand silence have already won. But true mastery of silence goes beyond mere restraint. It becomes a precise instrument of power, shaping perception, commanding respect. The psychology of silence is not weakness, it is precision. In a world that rewards impulsive expression and demands immediate response, those who exercise restraint hold a rare advantage. Every unnecessary word spoken can dilute authority, surrender control, or expose vulnerability. But those who master the discipline of withholding shape perception, command respect, and influence outcomes without having to over-explain, justify, or seek approval. Strategic. The psychology of silence isn't just about speaking less, it's about choosing impact over impulse. Machiavelli understood this well. Power doesn't belong to the most vocal, it belongs to the most controlled. Mastering strategic silence in a world of constant noise isn't just a skill, it's an advantage. Those who speak deliberately, observe intently, and reveal selectively don't just participate in conversations, they control them. So, in a world where everyone is talking, will you be the one who listens and wins? Thank you for being here.